really finding out what our personalities are, aren't we?
Yes. All right, here we go. Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have Aimee Carlson here with us. She is the Toxin Terminator, and she will be talking with us about how to get rid of toxins in our home. Aimee is helping people restore and renew their health by removing toxins from their homes and their lives. Join us in the industry thought leaders. She helps you understand the physical and emotional effects these products can have on you and your family. Plus, you'll discover safe alternatives you can use to remove the hidden toxins for renewed health. All right. So, welcome to the show, Aimee.
I'm so glad to be here, Sheila. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Yeah, so I'd like to start the show off with something aligned to my latest book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And this year we've been hit with just about every situation.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I'd love to hear maybe something in your business or personal life where you had to overcome an obstacle and get back on track.
Oh my gosh. Do I have to pick just one? Truly, my life has been riddled with lots of different things that have happened. But because of what I do, I'm going to talk about my health. So I had a lot of reproductive issues going on in my health. I was actually diagnosed with being in menopause at the age of 36, had a 80% hysterectomy at the age of 37. So, the average woman goes into menopause at the age of 47. So lots and lots of things happening with my health. I also had headaches every single day. Raise your hand if you got headaches, right? That's not a big deal, but every single day of your adult life. And I had migraines, and at the end, the migraines that I got, I actually lost vision on the left side from.
Wow.
So, and let me tell you, I didn't know what toxin was, and we hear this word tossed around so much these days. I actually worked in the automotive industry. I'm actually a certified mechanic by trade. That's what I did for 30 years, was work on cars. So I knew what hazardous materials were and what toxins were in relationship to cars. We knew the way we're dealing with used oil and used antifreeze and all the cleaning products and that type of thing. So when I kind of started diving into this world of toxins, I was familiar with that, but I wasn't familiar with what's inside of our home. And I was also in the automotive world in a very highly regulated business. I mean, we had to follow things to a T, or we were fined and could be shut down. And so when I learned that what you buy on the shelves in the store are not regulated in the least, that came as kind of a slap to the face. So I didn't feel well. And I was aging, I was getting in that 50 category and the mid 40s. And I'm thinking, it's got to get better than this. I've been to every specialist, every doctor. I've tried every medication. Some gave me some relief. Some gave me symptoms that were far worse than the original ones that I had. And I had this friend that invited me to a class on essential oils. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No. If the doctors can't give me what my body needs and they're the experts, your little bottle of whatever you want to call that is certainly not going to affect me. This friend of mine kept inviting me for a year, and I finally said, all right, I'll come. And so I went. And in very short order, I got rid of my headaches. I got rid of my migraines. It's been 7 years since I've had a headache. And I started learning. I call essential oils my gateway drug because that's what started me on this journey to find out maybe there's something to taking control of my own health. Maybe there's something about what I'm putting on my body. Maybe there's something about what I eat and how it affects my body. And so I just immersed myself in that, and I lost 25 pounds. I gained my energy back. My friends and family tell me I'm aging in reverse. I sleep like a baby. Well, not like a baby. Babies don't sleep. We don't want to say sleep like a baby. But I was able to turn things around for myself. And I had such a profound effect with it that I couldn't keep that to myself. And when you get out into the wellness industry, there's a million people talking about diet, right? There's a million people talking about exercise, but not very many people are talking about our lifestyle. And not very many people are talking about the toxins that we're exposed to. So that's what I decided to do, is really give that a voice.
Wow, that's great. And so that really, you redesigned your entire life
I did.
when you think about it. Yeah.
I did, but I kind of kept it in sync. I owned and operated multiple quick lube service centers, so we were all about maintaining your car for longevity. You do what you need to do to your car in order for you to get the life out of the car that you need. And I'm doing the same thing with your body now. I'm helping you take care of your body so you get the longevity out of your body that you need. Doesn't that, kind of keeping it in sync?
That makes sense. And I think this year more than ever, wellness is so important. And, being strong, keeping our immunity up. Now, I'll give you a great example of a toxin situation. I have a vacation home in Nevada,
Okay.
and we have scorpions. And so my daughter and I moved in, and we're here for a while, and we sprayed scorpion spray because there was a scorpion in the house when we first moved in. And we didn't know what to do. We were terrified of these things. Is this one the one that kills you, or the poisonous one, or we don't know? And so we're spraying it. My daughter started coughing her head off, sneezing, and she came down with a cold like instantly. 2 days later, she was better. And a month or two goes by, we found another scorpion, we sprayed. That's what happened. She got sick instantly. So we have to be very careful with all these things that you're supposed, what are you supposed to do? So it's difficult.
Yeah. And everybody in different parts of the country have different things that they have to take care of the home with. We happen to have a home in Arizona.
Okay.
So very familiar with the scorpions. So I actually found a company that is a pest control, but a natural, using natural products. So, we have homes in Iowa, and I actually found essential oils to work for a lot of the ants and flies and mosquitoes and all those type of things that we get in Iowa. So, can't say I found an essential oil that worked for scorpions, but, but it's so true. Some people don't realize the toxicity of different products, and you get things into the air, and it's going to affect your lungs and your respiratory system. It's going to affect your immune system. It also affects our neurological system. So for those people who maybe feel like you've got brain fog, you're just not on top of things like you once were, you're having trouble with memory recall, it could be stuff that you're using in your house making it that way. It's not necessarily all about age.
Right. Now, and also, honestly, I've never cleaned my house so much in my life. I mean, well, first of all, I had cleaning people, but then with the COVID, nobody wanted to come out anymore, and so now I get to clean everything myself. I work 14 hours a day, so it's a little different. But then it's cleaning and washing off your groceries, like I would never wipe off boxes and things that you would just put it away. And now, at first I was just cleaning everything. I didn't know what to do. I was looking into so many different theories. Well, sorry, so I'll just clean everything. And I mean, it's ridiculous how much cleaning toxins we're using in our home now compared to a year ago before the pandemic.
Oh, absolutely. So, and no one's saying don't clean, right? And there's so many theories out there, and it's like, who do you believe? What do you follow? And here's what I say to people is number one, you've got a great gut instinct. Everybody has that. And everybody's body chemistry is a little bit different than the next person. So, what works for person A might not be the answer for person B. You know, you got to go with what works for you and go with your gut. But there's a lot that we can do in this world that we live in today to just support our body, right? You know, what we want to do is give our body the best fighting chance, because here's the news, the news flash for you all is we've been living with viruses since the dawn of time. They've been around forever, and they're going to be around forever. So if we feel like isolation, masking up are the answers, I'm here to say I can debunk that, and I can tell you a million reasons why. But what we really need to do is be giving the body the best fighting chance against it, right? We know that the people who are having the most difficulty with this virus are the people with underlying health conditions, whether they knew about it yet or not.
Right.
You know, so what we have to do is we got to take a look at, you know, what can we do to support the body? And the Centers for Disease Control, which everybody wants to listen to right now, tells us what we eat, how we move, and our environment. The toxins in our environment are the three contributing factors to whether we're going to develop a disease or not. So if we just focus on those three things, we're going to be steps and leaps and bounds ahead of the next person. Does that make sense?
Very much. So what are you suggesting people use instead of the toxic cleaning things?
Well, great question, Sheila. There's a lot out there that you can use to clean with. And, you know, and it's a tough one because, you know, there's a thing called greenwashing. Have you heard of that?
No.
All right. So greenwashing, how do I want to put this? You know, manufacturers and marketers learn that there's certain words that are going to elicit an emotional response from us, right? So when we use words like all natural, when we use words like plant-based, when we use words like hypoallergenic, that's going to elicit a real safe feeling from you, right? We call that greenwashing because marketers use these terms and they might not be plant-based at all. They might not be, and hypoallergenic means nothing these days, you know, so we have to start learning to read labels. You know, years ago, we started turning those food products around, right? And we started learning to read calories. We started learning to read fat content and sugar content. We need to do the same thing with our personal care products, right? So what I would encourage you to do is turn it around and look at it. Number one, we want to avoid fragrance. Any product that you have in your home, if there's fragrance in it, fragrance is just one word that means it could have hundreds of chemicals under that one title, that one word. Okay. They don't have to tell you all the chemicals listed in there. So don't buy products that have fragrance in them. Instead, look for products that are fragrance free. Even unscented has the fragrance in it. And then they're adding more chemicals to cover up the smell of the fragrance. So it's even worse. So get fragrance free. We want to avoid phthalates. We want to avoid artificial colors and dyes. We want to avoid parabens. We really want to avoid a lot of big words that we can't understand or pronounce. You know, so when you turn that around, there is an app that you can get on your phone. It's free. It's called Think Dirty. And what you can do then is you can scan your cleaning products into this app, and it'll tell you a safety rating from 0 to 10. Now, in my home, it's anything that has a 3 or under is allowed into the home. So you can scan it or you can just type it in and it'll give you a safety rating, and tons of from shampoos and lotions to makeups to cleaning products, laundry products, they're all listed in there. And I highly encourage people to start looking at that, because not only do you get the safety rating, but it's going to tell you what specifically is in that product that's giving it a high rating or a low rating. And you'll start putting 2 and 2 together. Does that make sense?
Yes,
And
yes.
then good old fashioned vinegar and baking soda are all you need. And if you want to go from there, there's lots of options that you can do. You can add essential oils into it. You can buy, products from that Think Dirty app. But vinegar and water, I mean, that you can't get any simpler than that.
Yes.
Right now, when we were talking, when the pandemic first went out, we needed to understand there's a difference between disinfect and sanitize. Okay, so if we want something to be a disinfectant, we need to have things in it like hydrogen peroxide is a really, really good disinfectant and safe to use. Okay. If you want to sanitize, the only true way to sanitize is with alcohol that's 45% or higher. Okay. So alcohol you can add into a product, vodka, for instance, and now you've got a sanitizer. And we also know alcohol is very drying to the hands. If you're one of those people that started using the hand sanitizer repeatedly over and over again, you got the red itchy skin, from the alcohol. But alcohol is your true sanitizer.
Okay, so, and not bleach. Bleach is bad.
Well,
Is that a bad one?
Get it out of your house. Do not have it in your house. I cannot, and I know that they say to use it, and you'll smell it in restaurants. You smell it in all the places, because that's what, because bleach is cheap. And it's cheap because it's full of toxins. In your own home, please don't use it. It's going to cause so many respiratory issues for you and so many neurological issues for you. Just get it out of the house. Buy products. If you want a sanitizer, you can combine, the water and the hydrogen peroxide and the alcohol, and you'll have yourself a great sanitizer right there. But to kill off viruses, soap and water is what you need. Is soap and water. Dr. Bronner's is a great clean type of soap.
And it smells good. Their soap smell really good. Yes, we a lot.
Yeah, they use a lot of essential oils to infuse their stuff with. I add essential oils to a lot of my stuff. Peppermint is great for sanitizing. Lemon is real good to add in. Pine is real good. Remember the old Pine Sol? Pine is has great cleaning properties to it. Yeah.
Wow, that's really good. And so then how about for eating? What is the thought on eating healthier? I mean, now we're eating home more. At least I know I ate one meal out since March, and it was pick up to go salad. So it was not very exciting, but just because where I'm staying right now for my vacation home is where we got stuck here with all the pandemic, and with that we've just been eating at home.
Yeah. Well, and so a lot of people, hey, when the pandemic first hit, I was still able to buy everything I needed because no one was buying fresh produce. Everybody was buying the soups and the boxes and, all of that stuff. Right. And here's the thing. There's a lot of different meal plans out there. And I'm not here to say you have to eat vegan or vegetarian or paleo or keto, or now there's a carnivore diet, but what I will tell you is the closer you can get to nature with your food, the better off you are. And let me put it out this way. In the last 50 years, let's just go through some stats if you want to. In the last 50 years, in our country, across the world, but in our country specifically, obesity has increased. Diabetes has increased. Rates of cancer has increased. Stroke has increased. Autoimmune diseases were not even a thing 50 years ago, and they are today. All right. What has changed in the last 50 years? Do you know?
I would guess the diet.
Fast food.
Oh yes, fast
Yes.
food.
Fast food
That's
came
right.
into play. We started becoming, microwaves came into play. Everything convenience food came into play. We started getting all of our foods packaged up via, getting it more from nature, from a garden, from farmers,
Mhm.
right? So in the last 50 years, our diet shifted completely. And look at the results. We have so much technology available to us, yet our disease rate is on the rise exponentially.
Yes.
It's absolutely crazy. We have, ADD and ADHD. Did you even hear about when I was a child? My mom died of cancer. I was 10
Mm.
years old when my mom passed away from cancer. Not one of my friends was affected by cancer. Not one. There was no one in my community that had someone who had been affected by cancer. Today, you can't even, everybody's affected by cancer.
Yes. Wow.
You
That does
know,
make a difference. And I honestly, we do organic food, and we started getting our food from a farm, so we get vegetables and natural organic, foods from the farm, direct eggs. We eat eggs. So farm fresh. And so we actually, with our whole community, we could not get eggs or meat or even vegetables. And so we started buying together as a group from a farm that delivers, and it's been really nice that way. And I think I'm saving more money than when I was buying just at Whole Foods, because they were a
oh,
little more expensive.
you
And-
know,
yeah.
there's a gentleman, and I'm not saying everybody's got to go into doing this, that, or the other thing. I ascribe to the 80-20 rule.
Mhm.
I'm not perfect. I will eat sugar, from time to time. I will eat this Thanksgiving, I'm going to eat all the stuff
Yeah.
because it's Thanksgiving. But 80% of the time I eat a very clean diet, meaning it's all whole foods. I
Mhm.
eat meat, but it's grass-fed and organic. And there's a lot of ways that we can eat a healthier way that doesn't have to break the bank, right?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of produce that you can buy frozen that is organic and actually might even be better for you than what the fresh produce is, because it was frozen immediately. So it has all the nutrients in it. So I encourage people to check that out. It's a lot less on the pocketbook when we do it that way, and plan out your meals, because you're in a meal plan whether you think you are or not,
Mhm.
right? But if you can plan out whether it's for the week or whether it's for a few days, this is what I want to eat. Then when you go out and you buy all that fresh produce, you have a plan for it. Raise your hand if you have gone and bought all this fresh produce, you don't eat it all and it goes bad, right? And so you're throwing it away,
Mhm.
so there's lots and lots of options. There's a gentleman, and I think he's in California. I was just reading this article the other day. He has like I can't even remember the space, but it's a very small space, and he planted a garden. It's like a tenth of an acre, small space, and he produces, what was it, 7,000 pounds of produce a year in this garden, and he keeps it all very compact, and he makes over $20,000 a year in the extra produce that he sells. Now, not everybody's got a green thumb and is going to go out there and garden, but if you have interest in it, that might be something to do too, is grow,
Right.
maybe even start growing your own herbs to start with.
Yes, and I would love that guy to come over and make my garden. But I tried I tried a gardening thing here in Nevada, but my plants died twice.
But look at you formed a co-op.
Yeah,
You and your friends got together with a co-op. What a wonderful thing. And a lot of communities, like where we're at in Iowa, there's a community garden. Everybody gardens together. If you don't have one, start one. Who's
Yeah.
to say you can't start it?
Yes. And it does make a big difference, everything that you do. Now, we do have a microwave at home, but
Most people do.
we don't usually use it. Very rare, because there's not a lot to microwave. I mean, we have like a tea kettle to do the water. So we don't use it often.
Yeah.
But difference, yes.
I highly encourage people not to, because microwaves do change the structure of the food. There's so much science out there that talks about that. You can, go check it out, but I don't use it. My husband does, and God bless him. I had to release him a long time ago because he subscribes to about 30% of the stuff that I do, and the rest of it, he's like, yeah, no.
Yes. And it's funny, because my daughter had been at the dorm, and then the schools closed down, and so she moved in with me, and she's doing the online school, and I have been doing my best to just do organic and eat, everything's either, if it's meat, it's grass fed, or it's eggs, and it's vegetables. And I am celiac, so I'm gluten free. I don't do sugar. I do monk fruit or stevia. This is, I have to do it, because of it was kind of a gift, because I can't drink alcohol, too much sugar, because I've got sugar issues in the family. So my sugar's perfect as long as I follow a very strict diet. And my daughter's so sweet. She never complains. And one day, I had the Whole Foods delivered a whole bunch of other things, it was like other things she wanted. And I said, oh, I got you a surprise. And I got some healthy things that weren't as healthy. They made a mistake, and they gave us a big bag of junk food, like sodas and, things we don't ever buy. And she was so happy. She was like, oh,
I get some real food.
I just bought these like gluten-free brownie things, and that are like,
listen, if you want to know, Teresa Bacchus is a friend of mine. She's No Sugar Chic is her website. If you want to be able to make all the decadent treats without the sugar, please go check out her website. Just because we want to have a low inflammation and a no sugar, diet doesn't mean we have to give up, the sweet stuff. We just did an event called Happy Healthy Holidays, and we had several cooks and chefs in on that program. We had Amanda Gibson, who has the Clean Southern Cuisine. And, she was raised in Cajun country, and she has so much stuff. You're gluten-free. So is she. That's a great cookbook to get. Her biscuits are to die for, and they're gluten-free, and they're the fluffiest. So good. So just because we're eating healthy doesn't mean we have to sacrifice. And so I encourage people to check things out. There's so many resources out there to check out. One of the other areas that I want to talk about, if it's okay with you, Sheila, is water. We really, most of us know we want to drink clean water, right? And a lot of us have, filtration systems on what we're drinking. But what I want to encourage you to look at is what you're bathing in. Let me tell you this. When you take a shower, what do you think? How long is your shower? 5 minutes, 10 minutes? At minimum.
Right.
Depending on the product that we have on our skin, and depending on the condition of our skin, they can test that product and find it in our blood and in the soft tissue, the organs of our body, within 30 seconds to 2 minutes. 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Wow. So what we're showering in is just as important as what we drink. So if you don't have a whole house filtration system, then what you want to get is Aquasana has a shower head filter. It's like $35, $40 that you can get, and it will make a mound of difference for you in your overall health. I have a friend of mine that was suffering from Meniere's disease, which is it's an inner ear infection where she would just vomit and not be able to walk. She had to crawl, lots of pain associated with it. And when she changed over her shower head, 70% of her symptoms went away. 70%.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah.
that is really important. I have to go get some of those. I have them in my home in Beverly Hills, but I don't have it at the vacation
Yeah.
house. So we need to get those here. That's really important. That's something to think about when we're trying to keep ourselves as healthy as possible and keep our immunity up. Something like a shower, you think you're doing something good. Now, this house we have hard water here at the vacation home, and you might have that in Arizona also. But the hard water, we have the salt that you put in. Is there something wrong with that, or?
Water, there's nothing wrong with water softeners, but add a carbon filter to it as well. So carbon is going to help remove the chlorine, because the water softener doesn't remove the chlorine, and chlorine is one of a really damaging, to our body. So if you get the carbon filter added on with it, that's going to be a whole lot better. It's going to help pull out the chlorine and chloramine. It's also going to pull out some of the heavy metal particles for you. So I would recommend that.
Okay. Yes. Okay. That makes sense. And then we have a water system.
Reverse osmosis.
Yeah. Well, it's a very expensive one. So we have those.
Yeah, probably a reverse osmosis. So we have a reverse osmosis system underneath of our sink. So that's handling all of the water that's coming into the sink and to the refrigerator. It goes into the line for the refrigerator as well. So I've got clean ice and clean drinking water. And then we have the water softener and the carbon filter that is on the rest of the house.
Great. So there's somehow you can get the carbon filter for the water softener.
Yes, some companies do it both together. You have to ask them for it, and some companies you have to provide your own. You can find carbon filters in it, and it's a filter that they attach onto the whole water softener system.
Oh, that's great to know.
Well, and it can be attached either the water source prior to getting into the water softener or coming out. It doesn't matter. You're filtering it no matter what. That's
good. That's great. And then still add the shower filters.
Well, if you've got a water softener and you have the carbon filter on there, you wouldn't need the shower filter.
Oh, okay.
Right.
There you go. That's important to know.
And it's good to know that I tell people about the shower filters because many times we're in a temporary housing. We don't own it, so that's a good option for you. It's in a rental unit, that type of thing. But a lot of water softener companies, even reverse osmosis companies, rent them, so you can also check into those companies as well.
Yes, that makes sense. And there was a year, I had a house burned down in 2017 in the Ventura fires. I had just bought it, fixed it up, lost everything. And so then I ended up having to rent. I was invited to work in Beverly Hills, and so I moved over, which was great. Yet I had to rent for about a year until insurance came in and this and that. And with that, I did the shower filters, and I had a guy come out and put the filters in. And then when we left, we took them out because they don't always like the filters, where you rent. But that was something, because in certain places, the water's even more concerning. And LA is one of them that you just don't know. So,
yeah. And it's, and we find that to be true. We just moved into a new house here down in Arizona, and it was like a week time span that before they could get out and put our filtration systems in. And I'm like, the chlorine was so strong, when you've had it removed, it's very, very prevalent to you. And that leads me to, let's talk about, there's obviously toxins that we can't avoid, right? We can't get rid of all of them. Even myself, I don't have them all removed. We're all exposed to stuff. So let's talk about the second part of the scale, which is detox, really helping our bodies detox. All right. So there's some great tips I can give you. Number one is make sure you're drinking plenty of water. You should be drinking half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you should be drinking 75 ounces of water a day. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That just keeps the kidneys going, and the kidneys are our filtering, and that's going to help keep everything, out of the body. Other things that we can do is sweat. So there's lots of ways to sweat. We can get out and exercise, right? Which we should be doing. We should be getting 20 minutes of cardio, having a tough time breathing and carrying on a conversation. You should be doing that like 5 times a week. But sweating. So get out and move, or you can do like a sauna, a hot tub, 20 minutes is what you need at least. You could also do an Epsom salt, so now you're getting good minerals through the magnesium, but you're also sweating with the Epsom salt, taking a nice Epsom salt bath. And if you want to kick it up a notch, add a little bit of baking soda in there, and that'll really help you sweat it out. So sweating is a great, great way. And we do, anybody who comes down with anything in my family, whatever it is that you're coming down, the first thing I'm going to do is stick you in a bathtub with Epsom salts and baking soda. I want to get that out of your body as quick as I can. And so we always put everybody into a tub with that.
Yes. And what about like cleanses or going in and doing colonics or that kind of thing for further detox? Do you
there's a whole lot of people that ascribe to stuff like that. I have done the master cleanse where I just drink lemon water with maple syrup. I've done it from anywhere from 3 days to 10 days. For me, it's been more of a reset of the digestive system. If I have, ate poorly for a week in a row, I've been on vacation, something like that, right? And I just want to reset the body. I've done it in terms of that. I don't necessarily do colonics or that type of thing. But listen, I've got lots and lots of friends who do and just cannot rave highly enough, with it. So it depends on where you're at. I'm relatively toxin free, so I don't need those extreme measures. But here's what I would say is if you're going to do something beyond sweating, beyond drinking water, you want to make sure that you are pooping at least once a day before you ever try to do a detox. Because if you try to flush too much toxins out of your body and you're not removing it, you're going to cause more damage to yourself than you're doing good.
Wow, that's really good. And I have someone listening in here. We have Robin, who actually was a guest at one time. And she says, what can I do for sweating? Being I have adrenaline issues with my heart, low blood pressure. I can't exercise or be in a sauna or hot tub as I faint. What would you recommend for that, for her case?
So sweating might not even be an option that she wants to do. So for her, I would do more of drinking, making sure I'm getting plenty of water. Another thing I would encourage for Robin to do, because obviously we don't want to affect heart rate and blood pressure. That's what's happening with her when she gets that overheated. So let's support the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is your waste removal of the body. So Robin, start dry brushing. You want to get a good boar's hair dry brush, and you're going to brush always towards the heart. So you're going to start down at your feet, going up towards the groin. You're going to go in, towards the heart, on the stomach, in the back, up the arms, everything goes towards the heart. Come down, the neck. That dry brushing, 3-4 times a week is really going to help the lymphatic system. So Robin, for you, I would do the drinking lots of water and making sure that you're dry brushing.
Yes. And I actually started dry brushing myself about maybe 2 years ago. And there's lots of videos on YouTube. Yes. So you can YouTube the dry brushing and it'll show you like how and where and what to do, so that you're actually getting the lymphatic system to really run properly. And Robin said, awesome to know for dry brushing. Any sites, brushes you recommend?
Just natural bristle brushes is what we want. Boar's brushes, Amazon, just if you look them up, there's a lot of really good ones on Amazon that you can purchase. And one that's going to be comfortable for you. You want it a little stiff, but not that it's hurting. Your skin is going to get red, but not you're not going to be cutting into it or anything like that. So if you look up a dry brush, you'll find some really good ones, and natural bristles.
Yes. And the lymphatic system, I think the other thing, see, she can't do exercise, but I also do the rebounder. And that's really good for lymphatic.
I kind of stood away from that because with her heat and heart rate, I was kind of sticking away from that because rebounding.
Yeah. So if you don't have that issue, that's another thing to add if you want to detox, and it gives you more energy. Like I quit coffee. This was my last vice. And I've lost weight, like I don't know, 18 pounds, just quitting coffee. Because it spikes insulin or something, they told me, and I have this insulin situation. And so my A1C is perfect, but I have to be careful. And that was the only thing I changed.
Was coffee. When you drank coffee, were you doing cream and stuff in it?
I did put half and half of that, and then I put monk.
Yes. You're still getting the carbohydrates, so that was probably, some of your big difference in there. Plus, what's the first drink that you drink first thing in the morning now if it's not coffee?
I'm doing hot water and lemon.
There you go. There you go. So you're really pushing out the healthy things for your body. You are stimulating the adrenal glands. You're stimulating the hormones. You're stimulating all the energy. If we drink a room temperature or warm water first thing in the morning, do it for 1 week. 1 week. And then write to us and tell us how you feel.
Yes, that will make a difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah, and my daughter and I started doing that and started doing like celery juice. A little bit in the mornings, and that's been helping. Organic, natural celery juice. And she's 24. She doesn't have a health problem at 24, but she's like, yeah, this is pretty good. And
God bless her. God bless her. I mean, why is it that we have to wait for something to happen to us for us to open up our eyes and decide, maybe we should be doing something different? I'm actually looking into doing some events for moms and daughters. No matter how old they are, that the daughters, the children, can come in and start learning some healthy habits.
Yes. And I know that years ago, I was a Waldorf teacher. And so that's in a school that's very into healthy things. And children, we didn't have hot lunches or school lunches. And so they would all pack organic food.
Yeah.
And then the food we would serve, we would make like, I don't know, quinoa, or we'd bake bread or something with the kids. And it would be very, very healthy. And everything was organic and natural. And it was just the way we had a gardening class.
I love it.
And it was just such a different way of living and being, but because everybody else did the same thing, it wasn't an issue. Now in middle school, they let them have one day where they got pizza or a junk food. It was like a Friday treat thing for the middle schoolers. But the rest of the time, it was really whole foods.
The Blue Zones has done several different studies, and they've had actual programs where they go out to schools and they create these community gardens, and they are teaching the kids how to eat healthy and get moving. And they're creating this little community. And what they found is that in these schools where they've implemented these programs, the childhood obesity rates have gone down significantly in a very short time. So I just love anything that we can bring our children. I've got 12 grandkids. So anything I can bring, in the grandkids and help them learn, even if it's not happening inside their homes, they're seeing, hey, this is a good thing that we can do and learn and make part of our life. I love that.
Yes. And, it's really funny. I did fast food when I was very young. I mean, if I have a 24-year-old daughter, it was a while ago. It was probably when I was 19 or 20 that I stopped all the fast foods, as far as Burger King, Taco Bell, all those kind of places. And one time I was with a friend who was a devout vegan. And we were at, and she was driving in the car with me, and she said, "Oh, let's have lunch." And we're at a stoplight. And I said, "Okay, great. Where do you want to go?" And I have a list of restaurants that I can go to, because
Right.
with celiac, you have to be so careful.
Right.
And so, and she's like, "Well, there's like McDonald's, Taco Bell, da, da, da." And she was like, they have vegan things." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." I didn't even consider that a restaurant. Like, I would go home or go to Whole Foods or somewhere else before I just couldn't. There's nothing, literally nothing on the menus that
That
I can eat. And
it's
I
food.
mean,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
with celiac and other issues, it's not even possible.
Well, and God bless you, because I grew up. I mean, my adult life was, I worked in the automotive industry. So it was, you grabbed a burger and you ate it, like
Mhm.
it might be over a car. It might be, I mean, you were just eating as quick as you could. And I wasn't in a space in my time in my life where I even thought about preparing things and bringing, meals. That's the way my adult life was eating the fast food. Hey, somebody run over and grab a bunch of burgers, or, whatever. My son thought trash cans were big squares because they were pizza boxes. So I didn't change until I was in my gosh, well, if I'm seven, this spring will be 8 years. So I was in my 40s, my mid 40s, before I really started making big changes. And let me tell you, food
Mhm.
was my last vice. I didn't really, I dabbled in, oh, I know I need to eat better. And I would, it just would be a hit and a miss. And really, honestly, Sheila, it wasn't until I incorporated that 80-20 rule that I really made the shift over to eating healthy. And because I was in this cycle of, oh, I need to eat so clean. And then I would do it for 2 or 3 days, and then I would fall off the bandwagon. And so I would guilt myself and see, you can't eat healthy. And I'd be in this whole cycle, right? It was
Yes.
like an all or nothing thing. And when I gave myself permission, if you're eating healthy 80% of the time, and 20% of the time you make a poor choice, that's better than what you were doing. And what I find is I'm probably more about 95-5 now than I
Yes.
am 80-20, because I choose to eat. I don't choose to eat the other stuff. It's just not as appetizing to me as it once was. But
Mhm.
I had to give myself permission. It's okay, to have the pumpkin pie. Maybe that's a real emotional thing for you, and it was something your mom and you did. Don't take that away from yourself, and
Mhm.
just know it's that one meal, that one time a year you're going to have.
Yes, I am having gluten-free cake for Thanksgiving, which this may air after Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving is my birthday, so I'm definitely having
Oh,
a
happy birthday.
gluten-free cake for Thanksgiving. And everything that we're making is very all organic, natural, whole
Yep.
foods, and we're just getting enough for the few that are at home that will be. I have 6 kids, 3 are mine, 3 I adopted, and I'll have about 4 of them home. And so
Oh,
having enough, and
right.
we're not doing leftovers and and all that. We're planning this out. So
I love it. And here's the beautiful thing is that eating healthy has gotten so much better. The recipes are good. We're finding things that are really flavorful,
mhm,
and good for you. I mean, if Thanksgiving's already come and gone, we still got Christmas. We still have all the holiday parties. My good friend Shandi Borat did a whole event or class for us on party foods, healthy party foods, because not this year, but in the past, we have all the parties that we're invited to, and so many times we can take these things and no one knows they're healthy, right?
exactly. And I know that when I was very strict and dieting very strictly and really following the guidelines perfectly, and had to go out a lot
Mm-hmm.
work. I mean, this year is different because we don't get to go do those things.
Right.
But
Right.
when I did, I would always bring two
Yep.
or three healthy things. I would do like a hummus dish with veggies. And you know what? People that never eat veggies would eat their veggies. with that good hummus dip. And it was really simple to make, and they loved it. And so I would make sure I had, and I'd bring a salad, I'd bring things I could eat. And
Right.
maybe I couldn't eat anything else because I didn't know if it had gluten or not, or
Yeah.
it wasn't what I could eat. And that was okay because it just worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shondi made this hummus recipe that was garbanzo beans, beets, so cook up our soak, the garbanzo beans, and then cook up the beets, and then pressed garlic, a little bit of olive oil, and pepper, and mix and blend that all up in the food. Oh my gosh. It was so pretty for Christmas time, but yet so good for you. Just another alternative. Hummus can be made so many different ways. I love that.
Yes, yes, those simple things. And Robin says, thank you so much. Right now, she drinks a ton of water, and she's wondering for the coffee because she says, because I know I have to watch my caffeine intake to not faint with my heart rhythm. Wow. Yeah, coffee's not good if you have that
Right.
issue. I can drink natural caffeine products. Oh, I can't drink natural caffeine products anymore than that. The room water temperature to drink is amazing and helps first thing in the morning. I feel so much better. I feel more grateful for the room temperature water when I drink it. It's crazy how good it feels. That's great, Robin. Yes. And
Awesome.
I'm not tired. When I gave up caffeine,
Mm-hmm.
I was drinking like the venti latte Starbucks size, that much at home because
Yeah.
we didn't need to go to Starbucks anymore. But before I had my office penthouse in Beverly Hills, and you go downstairs was a Starbucks. And so we always had a Starbucks. And that getting off of that, I thought I am not going to be able to make it through the day. Well, I have more energy
Mm-hmm.
now than I did before.
Yeah.
And I think it was about a week where I had like light headaches and I was a
Oh
little
yeah.
cranky and tired, and that was it.
Yeah,
And maybe because I was
that
drinking,
caffeine
yeah.
detox, not pleasant for sure. Now I do drink coffee, and I drink organic coffee, and I do a French press. That
Mhm.
way, I'm just drinking 1 cup in the morning, and using the French press, I can keep it. I know that it's just 1 cup, and there's so many studies out there, good for you, bad for you. And it's just one of those things that I know I feel good about the coffee that I'm
Right.
drinking. And that's what I do. But I also drink my lemon water first, you
Mhm.
know?
So
Um,
I wonder if I was drinking very healthy bulletproof coffee.
mhm.
I'm wondering if maybe that's why I didn't have it so bad, because years ago I tried to stop and it was like I was tired and I was sick for a much longer period of time. So I think because it was a very healthy, natural coffee, it was easier to get off of. Within
Well,
a
and you've
time.
probably removed a lot of toxins out of your life,
Yeah,
maybe from that earlier point. If you're not eating a lot of sugar and you don't eat gluten, your body is pretty detoxed as it is. So then when you get rid of the caffeine, it's not as bad. And if you were replacing it with water, when we drink a lot of water, we take our warm baths, we get out and move our bodies. And Robin, too, if you can walk, just walk. You don't have to do it in an intense way, but just keep the body moving. That might help too. Um, you know, just eliminating the toxins, you're going to feel better. When we have excess toxins, they get stored in our body, get stored in our fat. We have things happening like fatigue, insomnia, but can't fall asleep, gut issues, we're bloated, we might be constipated or the other, might look like, here's one of the things, getting rid of toxins, especially from the food. I don't have the belly fat. I don't have the bloated belly like I once did.
yes, that's so important. Now, I'd love for you to share how people can connect with you, maybe get your books or programs,
Ab-
and more about detoxing.
Absolutely. So just my name is up here on the screen, and my website is just my name, aimeecarlson.com. And from my website, you can connect with me on social media. You can listen to the podcast. You can get my book. I've got an Alexa skill set that's out there. I talk about different programs that I offer. Everything is in the website. So that's really the best way to get a hold of me.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And now we are going to be toxin free from now on. Thank you, Aimee. All right. Stay tuned. We'll be back after these messages.